Ron texted me, he's on the way.
Okay.
That's a little bit like Ron.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we're good to go there, right? All right, we're gonna call this meeting to order. Thank y'all for coming out. Couple of things before we get started. Please keep everything civil. No yelling, no screaming. It's a work group to try to work out problems. If there's any citizens comments, you have 1 minute, so I'm gonna open that up now to citizen comments. Step forward.
All right, my name is Adam Richards, 311 Leslie Lane. The only comment I want to make is I've heard some talk around town about limiting or capping the number of golf cart licenses to be issued. And I just want to remind everybody about the unintended consequences. Every time we make some sort of rule like this, we have unintended consequences. And a golf cart is, less than half the size of an average vehicle and carries more people. Usually we can fit 4, 6, or 8 people in a golf cart. Whereas when people are driving around in their trucks, they're putting 2 people per car. So for every golf cart that we limit off of the road, you can replace it with a full-size vehicle, which is just going to cause more congestion and parking issues around town. So as big of an issue as it is now that people want to get 2, 3, 4 golf carts per house, it's better than them driving 3 or 4 full-size vehicles around town the entire time that they're here on the island. That's my opinion. I'm not sure what the other issues with the golf carts are, but as far as capping or limiting the number, I think that would be detrimental to the overall goal of getting traffic to move efficiently and having a parking on the island for everybody.
Thank you. Jack, can I ask where you heard that?
That's my own opinion.
No, where you heard that?
About the capping, just conversations around town, various stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Not necessarily
Don't ruin the conversation.
city, that's saying,
It's all right. I was just curious, because Rick, there's no discussion like that, right?
At 50,000.
50,000. All right. Yeah, all right. Anyway, I'm just curious. I mean, I know how that. Or like, go ahead and start there. Steve, everyone introduce yourself and what company you're with or how you're representing.
Steve DeWitt, Flat Paradise. I'm Dimitri, I'm a manager of the division of almost 20 sites.
Okay. From you guys. City Park City Council.
Or it's currently assistant city.
New city manager just arrived, just paid first day.
Thank you.
Holding the board A.
What are my staff? Oh, lawyers?
Rick Adams, staff.
Dale Christensen, Island Surgeons.
Staff and report A folks.
So thank you everybody for being here. Like I said, we had a bigger invite list, so they were given the opportunity, so you guys be part of the future of golf carts. You get the first license. Yeah, that's right. All right, if either Nicole or Rick want to go to the general, or someone can go to the general requirements for golf carts.
Let's see if I actually wanted Rhonda, whose job that is to do that.
You want to hold off on that for
Want me to go get her?
Yeah, once you go, yeah, let's
Prep her on the way.
okay. All right, we'll go to.
yeah, let's actually, while Chief is here, let's talk about increasing boards money on your efforts and successes. And that's kind of what you can share with us.
Yeah, unfortunately, my assistant is not ill today, but I can tell you during the summer from between Memorial Day and Labor Day, we wrote a little somewhere between 450 and 500 golf cart citations. The vast majority of them were for the carts on the highway. The council's funded us $10,000 a year for overtime to fund an officer to do enforcement during the summer. And in addition, we require each of our patrol officers to spend a minimum of 1 hour a day on the highway doing not only car enforcement, but also traffic enforcement on 361. And there was a feeling that if the enforcement got upgraded, the word would get out and we would see a downtick in violators. I think we've seen more violators this year than we have in years past, despite the increased enforcement. We went and ran a search, I think it was in the end of June, first part of July, to see if we had any repeat offenders for golf cart violations, and there wasn't one. So. Yeah. It works on the person that got the citation, but it doesn't seem to have much of an effect.
What about other, like, underage drivers, seat belts?
Yeah, we run, the seatbelt violations, we don't generally enforce on adults, we enforce them on, they get children on the cart. And part of that's just we don't get a lot of prosecutions on the seatbelt violation unless it involves children. Really, the three things that we target are the golf carts on the highway, and that includes the sidewalks, the underage drivers, and the overloaded golf carts. That's our three main focuses. I think those are probably the most hazardous operations, and we've got maybe I'm just guessing here, less than 20 violations or citations for overloaded carts, and we run about 7 to 10 a month for the underage drivers.
Percentage wise, locals or people that house their cars here versus rentals, what's,
I couldn't tell you with much accuracy. Anecdotally, I'm gonna tell you there's gonna be a disproportionate number of rentals
right,
because the locals.
right, no, but percentage wise, I mean, so it kind of even everything out then, you know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what the percentage is, but it's gonna be far more rentals than the locals. But we still see the violations. The biggest ones with the locals, they're not on the highway, they're not overloaded, but they don't renew their license plates,
Right.
and they like to drink a beer while they're driving down the beach. So that's what we see with the locals.
Scott, hey, I know you give your officers range, make the best decisions because they're all adults, they're all good thinking people. I would think I would speak for the golf cart community, though. I don't want to speak for Peyton or Ron, but I think I can say, I'm telling you, it's you're inhibited by whatever budget you're getting. So if you're budget driven, we have got to hand out more than 500 tickets. I don't like tickets. I like enforcement because I am telling you, golf cart insurance is spiraling out of control. And it's because we are the most toxic place in the entire US. With the one accident in South Padre, you remove that one accident, it's costing them, it's in the neighborhood of 2.5 million right now. Fort Ramses is like the capital time. Altogether, Fort Ramses equals the rest of the United States now. And it's not, that's not a title you want to own. And I know if you're not doing it, I'm just saying, what can we do to get more enforcement versus, my personal opinion is 100% no tolerance. I mean, no warning, 100% ticket writing. I don't like it, but I think it helps.
You get a monkey to do that. I mean,
I agree with
I
you.
want the officers to.
I agree.
Use their discretion, because we're always gonna come across the 75-year-old grandmother who's got her grandkids who's confused and lost, and the veterans who's on a 3-day pass and stuff like that, and they're gonna get.
And those make sense. I mean,
And that's mostly what you're gonna see. If they're just Joe citizen and, you're driving down the road and so, well, you're not supposed to be on the highway. Well, Siri told me to go down this way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're too
Right.
in the morning.
Right.
And that's vast majority of.
And the underage driving issue Kyle's not here, but Cinnamon Shore's got to contribute to more than 50% of all underage driving on the beach. You can't do anything in Cinnamon Shore.
We can't do anything in the shores themselves or on the streets themselves, but on the beach we can. But, and again,
I just don't want anybody to get killed.
the one thing that would help us more than anything else is to be able to hire some more officers. And it's not a budget issue. It's we can't get quality applicants.
Rick will look good in black.
So that's our biggest issue is we're short staffed.
Let's bring it back in here a little bit here.
So
And that is discussion here.
so that's it.
If Ron is not gonna be here, so we can kind of work our way through some general requirements for golf carts. Of course, they gotta be registered. One of the things that we see more and more of are hybrids, non-traditionals. This isn't from you guys, but these are from other folks, usually from out of town. Although you do bring us some proposals every once in a while. But these are non-compliant, they don't fit the ordinance. The insurance is the big one. There's some discussions. I know that some of you have different opinions. I'm not the expert, I'm not the part of the finance department that registered, Ron is tied up on an insurance call. But she can tell you that's one area that I think we could probably discuss and do a better job internally, what kind of insurance, what we need to have as a city. I mean, I don't know what that is. You guys know, and I know it's expensive, but you know, obviously the purpose of that is to protect, you know, the citizens, not only the citizens that are impacted by golf carts, but literally impacted by golf carts. But also for the golf carts themselves and for your own protection and liability. So I know there's a question, and it's confusing for the staff to do that. It's a complicated situation. Nothing really changed those requirements. I mean, our ordinance has been in place for quite a while, so we require seatbelts. What else? You kind of help me on that as far as golf carts go.
Headlights, turn signals, rear view mirror.
We don't require turn signals. We require operating headlights.
Turn signals, brake lights, when it's 2 or 3 years.
Turn signal.
I thought you just said.
Or is it just a brake light,
Turn signals.
just a brake light?
Yeah.
Slow
turn
moving
signals. You can use hand signals, brake lights. Although if you think they're brake lights are required. And evidently a turn signal never goes off, right turn signal.
Correct.
That's why you don't have brake lights. That's why you don't have turn signals.
So like I said, if one is, there can fill in any other details, but, you know, I think all of you guys, I don't think anybody that know the general requirements for golf carts. Oh, one of the things we did do, sure Carl has asked every one of you, parking plans. So we have to be able to establish that you got, quite honestly, anybody, there was a time when anybody that had a small piece of asphalt wanted to be in the golf cart business, or just had a small piece of property. And so we try to just be sure that everybody meets the ordinance by having an improved surface for the golf cart they rent. You just have to see it in a parking plan. We understand a lot of you have storage barns, so we'll take documentation for our carts there, but we just want to see where they're at, that you physically have the capacity. So that was part of the parking plan every year. And so that's a general.
Right of way parking. Right of way parking.
Well, we'll get into some of the issues. I was just kind of the general requirements for registering and bringing golf carts to market. So that's probably the big ones there. So
I heard you say that that's to be removed, the apartment plans would be reviewed annually.
yes,
You can, I mean, if nothing changes.
if nothing
you
changes,
can
that's
say
fine.
what.
Most everybody, increases, decreases the fleet. Obviously decreases is not a problem, and it before, but most everybody, adds a few here or there. So.
I think we covered the enforcement issue, chief already, so we'll move on to current issues. This is probably the 4 major issues that we're seeing, but obviously there's additional ones. The idea behind this group is to try to figure out where you guys would, as owners, come together and come up with some solutions. So we don't have to come up for ordinances to force more upon you. So this is to your advantage to speak up and try to come up with solutions that we worked out amongst you as owners. And if you need to, put them as, in our ordinances, then we can do that also. We just had an SDR workshop and they come up with a lot of their own solutions to solving their own problems. So that's what this is a group to work out problems. So
We need to be candid, frank with each other. Like I said, we have law enforcement here. Staff doesn't have any skin in the game. So like I said, we just, quite frankly, we have a lot of the heavy hitters in the industry here. But it also needs to be equitable. So like I said, we don't want any rules imposed on you that don't impose the private property owners that have golf carts. I mean, everybody needs to, the issues I think are pretty much the same. So we want to make sure that whatever, we're kind of equitable across the board. It's real hard for chief to write a citation and bring it to prosecution because if different people are giving different dispensation of preferential treatment. So it just needs to be across the board. So
First issue is golf carts on the highway. Obviously, we all know that is an issue, whether it's today or July 4th, it happens a lot. So ultimately, we haven't had anyone killed recently, but there has been, yeah, I think it was, what, 3 years ago?
Never
The
had a
citizen-
fatality.
Was it?
And we've never had a fatality.
Not a golf, but it's got a couple of comas.
But I think it's heading that direction. So like y'all's thoughts on how we can possibly, I mean, obviously, police can only do so much. Here's some things I've heard. Of possible select, solutions is. GPS is becoming cheaper and cheaper. They're installing a golf cart. In the contract says if you drive down 361, we're automatically charge your card $250, $500. Or we're gonna automatically confiscate that car, car from you. We're gonna come, you broke this, we're gonna come pick it up and that's it. That's one of the things that, I've heard talked about. So this is kind of where I'm throwing this out there as the first thing. So you guys now need to start talking and
I think that Scott and I talk about this a lot, that we're definitely afraid somebody's gonna get killed.
well, that's what I said.
That is our, I'll tell you, without a doubt, that's the moment, whether it's gonna hurt our pocketbook or a business, but just to be associated with something like that, like what happened in Dallas, which had nothing to do with the golf cart. But we need to figure out ways we can solve some of the problems. And one of the things that I know Scott and I've talked about this a couple of times is we see the most carts at the intersection down here at Alistair and 361, where they're coming on or going off. That tends to be whether, Chief, you might know, I know they come all down that 361, but if we had a way to put a big signboard that says, and Scott, I talked about this split one day, that says, turn around, don't die, and have a golf cart there, I don't know what it says to get people's attention, but I sit there and watch them in the lane coming straight, like they're gonna head south. I see them come out of Whataburger, sitting there like I'm supposed to be here. I see them in the turn lane coming off of G, gonna turn on there. But if we had something, and I know that we're kind of held back by signage in that area. But I gotta believe there's something we can do, whether we lease some land from one of those particular people right there in a parking spot. But have a signboard that gets your attention. And again, I don't know what the.
We had one there back in 2018.
There's a small sign there.
Well, no, we had that big blinking sign that summer from the DOT. I thought it was pretty effective.
But if we had something along those lines, and collectively, we could all pay for it without even cost.
Let me finish over it. So we've had discussion with TxDOT. That area, again, part of that is under their jurisdiction, but finally, after a lot of badgering, we had a meeting 4 or 5 months ago. Wasn't the sole purpose of the meeting, but we brought it up. We're gonna have another one here in the next couple of weeks. They're willing to allow us to put signs up on the yard arms, the traffic lights, which they wanted them on the ground, but the problem is that you have to place them far enough back. First off, they don't get noticed. By the time they're up close enough, they can't get out of the lane they're in. Even if they wanted to, they're going to be forced to turn if they're even paying attention. But up there, we think there's a good chance we're going to try it. So we're going to start to do that, and probably we ought to revisit our other little signs. We think we just think that highways a misinterpreted slogan that no carts on Highway 361. That's what I think we need to maybe change that message. But we think those on that big intersection there, G. Alistair cutoff, if we can get those signs up, then that'll help.
I mean, most of the side streets are marked with small signs. I mean,
If you miss those, just bad enough.
Well, we see plenty of them look at them. I mean, I watch them all day long.
now you see turn around.
Look both ways.
I think one thing that we partner with businesses, for CDS, where they, partner and say, we can, you can buy the sign from the city for X number of dollars and, or require them to have a sign. That's something that's been brought up too. But we need then to get broad, every business that
Yeah,
to do, not just Whataburger and CDS.
I don't think there's one thing that's gonna solve it.
No, there's not.
I think, you're hitting on some good things, and I think that, and I heard Chief say, and I know his struggles with finding good police officers. Maybe it's time we look at hiring private security. It might sound like I'm in security, but I'm not, but I know that they have people, that I even thought about getting an electric bike. And have somebody that says I'm the golf cart patrol, and they sit up there on an electric bike, and as soon as somebody takes off on that highway, they get the pleasure of chasing them down and saying, hey, you need to get off this road, Paul.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you laugh, but we've had those discussions internally also to do like a citizen dog patrol, a ranger, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And they can work the highway. I mean, we've got a bunch of winter Texans and summer Texans that would thrive on having a little yellow vest that says golf cart ranger or something on it.
And I'll tell you, Rick, I'll tell you something, a letter with this letterhead needs to go to the 5 or 6 businesses.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
The Hampton, Pirates Bay, HOA, 4-day RV park. Golf carts are illegal in all those facilities. Paradise Point. And Nathan's new project was that Dolphin Cove, Dolphin something, Locky Bay. So.
When I look on the letter, it actually should be under your signature, we'll draft something out.
I think also.
Just reminding with the legal golf cart crossing.
I mean, we just gotta cut that down. That's got to be a huge portion.
Yeah, I think also you put those little signs up, like in all the spots that you're not supposed to cross the highway, you should try to put a numerical value of the fine.
Well,
Absolutely.
And
You know what I
also,
mean? Because if I'm unsure if this is the golf cart crossing and potentially I'm looking to spend $500 for my uncertainty, that's good. I'm more cautious. You know what I mean? Even at the 4-way intersection by CBS, if I'm more cautious, I'm going to say, oh shit, $500. Like I'm gonna find some other direction.
and this would be a good place for a private.
Fix,
Yeah,
right?
we
We
can partner
can
together.
add it on there.
Yeah,
Because if you all tell your customers, when your customers come in,
right. They're taller.
But again,
That's one of the most important things, education
Yeah.
that we give our customers.
but if your customer comes in and saying they're staying in Pirates Bay, no, I'm sorry, I can't rent your car. No, there's no legal crossing of it. I'm staying at the Hampton, I'm sorry, I can't rent your car. You can nip that at the point of sale.
I think it's been fairly good. There's still some operators, and it's not my job to say who those operators are. They take that money because their greed is more than my greed. I have greed, but it's not that much.
When our customers come in, it's in our contracts, which you can't drive on.
Yeah.
And we have written education as well as.
So
process.
your visual,
And
Big bold print, it's 6 pages. I mean,
Oh,
it's
I-
said it multiple times. No, I'm just saying, like, it's multiple times that it says that in big, bold, black print, like 10 times larger than your other letter.
So part of it's the communication, they don't understand where the highway begins. And
I don't think.
that's just an extension of Alistair, and what we discovered.
Trying to break the rules.
I do know that you'll find that when you have a problem, the person driving that car wasn't the person that rents.
100%.
And so somehow we've got to pass that message to the next person. And that's the challenge.
Well, look,
Because we run into it all the time. Well,
I made it this year and it's cut down in my shop. Pretty waxy the last 3 or 4 days. It's got Highway 361 laminated. We kind of give it to everybody. Yeah, I bought a sample. I've printed about 2,000 of them this year.
could you give it one every rental?
So if we do delivery, they get one, and then if they walk in their gate, or they can take one if they so choose. So, and of course, the city can put the rules in the back of this, but I mean, I'm paying retail, like you guys could drive this.
You thought about a whole bunch of hanging with the cart.
It's not a bad, it's not a half bad idea.
Don't drive on the highway, some you can't drive on any street that's got more than 3 lanes.
We say you see 5 lanes.
Yeah,
You
it's
see
got-
5 lanes, you're
It's
doing
got
wrong.
more than 3 lanes, it's illegal if you can drive on.
Yeah.
Then
It's
they
all
have to
done.
go to the beginning.
what we tell ours is if the speed limit is over 30 miles an hour.
A couple of things on all of this. I'm Brett. I'm Brett with the Georgia Bureau Chamber of Commerce. The city's going, there's no magic bullet, but we are working on a comprehensive sign program in the city that is going to address regulatory things like golf carts, but it's also going to go to think about the park event. So there's going to be an integrated system that's going to come to water and this hopefully in the next year or two, or so. But we are also then, of course, more than knowing, when we got that map, we have the bigger detailed street map that we outlined on the school that's got those. We do outline areas of how that. So whatever you come up with, we're really hard to help figure out how to get it maybe beyond your shop, but also.
And you're putting ink to paper. If you just add the greens for the legal process.
Yeah, I just didn't promote any legal crossings, to be honest with you. I didn't try to keep them wrong, but you're correct. You did do that.
Yeah.
I try to keep it simple.
I think that's a great idea, but we could add a little.
Yeah, the city, you put their logo on it in the back, there's a lot for them, the city to do some work, chambers, you see in the back.
Done in waterproof.
Yeah, this really holds up pretty good, customers love them. And then I'm probably paying a penny a piece for them, you guys get them down to solid crack.
Highway 361, which is great. Let's see, I orange lettering like across the window, somewhere very visible, but you can't miss it. If you're not allowed.
Well, you're talking about the windshield? Well, not everybody runs the windshield.
They have a
One
sticker.
vehicle.
We've had a sticker.
Yeah, there's a sticker.
All those are required and added on as well. I think the issue is that
Yeah.
people don't realize that.
What you're gonna learn is that the new assistant city manager, when customers come here, no matter what their income or what the profession is, when they get here, golf carts turn stupid.
They leave their brains.
They really bring on that.
I think maybe like a lot of property management companies, not like seeing anyone out, but you know, you'll have the parts there at the house and the keys are there, and I'm sure they need like a contract online, right? And that DocuSign, something like that.
So
Will
they
they
have to come to our, they get kicked off, but if you got a golf cart included with the state, you must come get.
That's for you.
That's for the.
I don't know if that's everyone, but maybe like, some of these inside the vacation homes where the key is stored, so it's like accessible information to them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how Silver Sand stuff
Yeah,
is.
Silver Sand being the biggest.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
if they had a map like this at each one of their house where they're actually like storing the keys, and that's like a visual warning. You know what I mean? And that was on.
Maybe we have to have a voter safety board. Yeah, you know how you, to take a vote out there, you have to, if you're a certain age, you have to go through it. You know,
How do we address those individual owners if they get their garage as part of the?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's
I
the
mean,
hardest part.
Those are not considered properly, and somebody's gonna go down bid on one of those. But somehow, you know, whether it's an infomercial or something that we create on YouTube, that you're required to go fill out, to drive a golf cart in 4 days, how hard would it be? Because we are, I can tell you, we're missing the message. First person that gets it, they got it, they understand it, they heard you say it. But then I'll see them go right down the road. But the ones with this are the ones when they get back to this, the vacation rental place, here's the key, you'll have fun.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it, that's your problem. So I really believe that's 9% of our problem. So how do we solve that?
Y'all make anybody that drives it sign the contract, even if they have to come back, like they take it back to the house. And the brother-in-law's coming and he wants to drive, he's got to come sign our contract. We need his driver's license and his auto insurance, because the guy that rented it, that auto insurance isn't gonna cover him, where they come back, and that's it. Yeah, that's sort of like a rental car.
You're gonna get little execution at that rate.
Well,
You got a house full of 12 adults.
but you at least plant that seed, that's where it is. And your insurance isn't covering, you know, if your brother-in-law has the insurance. I mean, anything we can say when we have them with us for their safety and everybody's else's encourages, because we do have people, we've had people say, well, I didn't bring my driver's license because I didn't drive. Well, you can't drive a golf cart. Just,
Where would y'all say the most accidents occur? Is it on Alistair and Avenue C?
On 11th Street.
On, okay, Is it cross streets that people are pulling out? What is it typically?
Turns and.
Typically, it's people turning and they curb check the cart and dump them over, or they run a red light or a stop sign, or the car that hits them on the stop sign.
We kind of use, some of you not as old as I am, but when we took driver's ed, y'all remember the videos of all the crashes? Yeah, so we have a couple of those cards, a picture up front, it gets everybody's attention. And we just say, this car didn't do well against that F-150. And then they had on collision, luckily his employee, they didn't die, and they hurt one, but, you know, I think it's just a combination of a lot of different things that we're doing, but we probably can get together and do it as a group and make sure we're consistent. And we can make this kind of go away and ease the pain if we ever do get to that problem. I think that we have to have buy-in from everybody that's making cars.
Since somebody mentioned it's like the 12 adults that are all gonna be sharing the driving of that golf cart. It to me, like, it's kind of come back full circle to the cart itself. You guys looked at geofencing technology and those kind of things that
I play with it.
create
It's not good enough.
some audible warning once you don't water.
Steve and I have been doing it for a couple of years, and it's not good enough yet.
The accuracy is probably not.
It's not bad on the highway, but boy, I did it. And it was going to me and my son, the alerts. Holy cow, we couldn't get a hold of that part quick enough to get it out of there.
Oh.
Because every time they got near 361, even though we thought we geofenced it right, they pull up like they were gonna go across, or they did go
Go to
across.
Domino's.
And here goes it sends a text message, ding, part 20 is in the wrong place. Or we even geofence the ocean, the Gulf, the water, because we don't want them on the water. But now we got a high tide situation, they're all in the water, it says, you know, and again, it's $15 a month per cart. And you start getting to 100 carts or something.
I was thinking more on the cart itself.
Yeah,
I mean, notifying you is great. I mean, that certainly gives you some business options.
or like a golf cart,
And once it hits that proximity, then there's.
or like a golf course where you get them near the green.
Yeah,
Yeah.
again, it kind of eliminates well, I didn't know, something's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and it didn't happen until I pulled onto this.
That'd be irritating, so that bites off on that actually.
But you've seen it where you get to a golf course and you get too close to the green, it turns into like real slow. And then you get back into the right area and it's
I don't think I want that happening.
No.
But an audible alarm on the other hand.
I mean, are we thinking like also some of these golf carts on highways, I see we're like focused on that a lot. Honestly, I feel like maybe the underage drivers have a bigger scenario. Do we feel that it's half and half with underage drivers driving?
Yeah, I mean, this did.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, I mean.
Hey, I'm not-
I'm
underage
not
drivers
about
are on
a
the beach.
12-year-old driving on the beach at 15 miles an hour as I am a 30-year-old on Highway 361 golf cart V 150 or.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Are we catching underage drivers on the
Yes.
highway? Yeah,
Not on the highway as much, they're on the beach.
so it's mostly adults. So maybe like what you're saying, like these attached to the golf carts, things like that. I mean, if they are adults, they're gonna see this and look at it, whether it's a coupon for Whataburger or it's a map of a place on Stripe.
So a lot more.
CVS, right?
You know, really, it's up to us as companies to pass that education on to the customer. It's our responsibility. We have to communicate that.
I think signage is a huge.
Signage.
I think it's a,
I think it's the biggest.
I think it's a part of it, but
But just like in our contract, it's punitive. If you're underage and you're driving, we will use your rental and repossess the car right then and charge you $175.
I'll tell you what, the companies that will do that consistently, if you'll give me a contact phone number and stuff, when we stop on your carts, we'll call you.
I'm about,
Okay,
I'm about.
I mean, and we had a few, but you know, we have a lot of rentals. I give people that, that's the last thing I tell them when I hand them the keys.
So just out of curiosity, it's a general question for y'all. Do you have people calling, hey, there's one of your golf carts driving down?
All the time.
All the time. Okay.
I mean, you have locals that are anti-golf carts, they'll pick up the phone, and they know the license plate number, like, I
Yeah.
believe.
So, I mean, so can you guys do that to your benefits?
We will
I
actually,
mean, it's just like where you guys implement, say, hey, if if your cart is visual. Someone calls in and says, that golf cart was on 361. You know, I don't know how legally, but I mean, but is
I
that
mean,
something?
if I rented 70 cars in
Yeah.
one day and all of them drove on 361, I mean, intending that I'm making $175 times 60, right? You know what I mean?
So that's
I mean, like, because we're informing them and telling them and going over the 5-lane road, 4-lane road thing, like, if you're not compatible to have a 10-minute conversation with someone about don't drive on this road, and then you immediately leave and go drive on that road, like, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? Like, don't rent an airplane if you don't know how to fly, don't drive a golf cart.
I mean, so I'm wondering if that's something that you guys start, I mean, so when someone calls in, you say, hey, you immediately call that person, bring that cart back for, you know.
But if it's on 360, not to interrupt you, but most of the time we go and get them because they stranded themselves somewhere, they're not allowed to drive past that point, you know what I mean? So I mean, that also makes very active golf cart rental people. I mean, you need to go pick it up, especially at the town hall place. You know what I mean? They get stuck over there. I don't know how they make it that far.
I think I'll get one from Siegel 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, they get stuck over there in front of the water, and the water is hard to make place, and you're saying, how would you get this far? You know what I mean? It happens to be that way, but I take plenty of it. You know what I mean? And the police officers don't let them leave from that area, or you need to go pick them up.
Well, after they get to the water district office legally.
Yeah.
But they never do. guys.
No, that's not how they got there.
They take the scenic route there.
You know, we always tell them, look, $500 ticket, that seems upfront, we come down, so we can kind of give them the threat in the first 5 minutes, so, but I'll tell you, a universal YouTube video that's like 2 minutes or less, that we could all stick onto our website, so we could all forward, hey, do you want to forward it to your phone? Gotta keep it 2 minutes or less, can't be a 7-minute YouTube video. You'll lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you gotta keep it 2 minutes less, the rules of 4 day, and you can title it, how to have fun in 4 days safe. Safety first in 4 days, and it could just be a random cart, it doesn't have to have my stickers or your stickers, a random cart, and where to go, where not to go, and the basic things, put on the seatbelt, check your headlights.
Maybe the chamber should do a video.
I think the chamber would be great.
I think we can do the QR code, you put it at each place, where you make them pull their phone out and scan the QR code, it links them to that video, and they have to watch it before they take it.
And it's a tool you guys use, I mean, you do it anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely.
That'd be a great thing, then like that QR code, great, everybody's gotta watch.
so we could actually get together and have one professional done.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And use Brett's funds.
Absolutely.
He's not here.
Yeah.
Well, they've got professional videographers that do that.
Sure,
yeah.
And, yeah, and you guys get and here's the group, come up with the content. And because I think it'd be a good marketing tool because they're reaching out to visitors, hey, we're in golf cart friendly and here's a little video that's also informative.
I did one video, cost me $1,500, it's on my website, just kind of how to trail through 4 day. And I don't know if it's
there
got
a little
this
bit,
year, but
Tried, but
it's gotta be 2 minutes for
yeah,
that.
it's gotta be short and
And entertaining.
you gotta get
Yeah.
everybody to watch it, and it'd almost be interesting if you put a code at the end of it. And crash. Yeah, crash. Yeah, crash, but you had a code that says, if you get pulled over, you don't know this code, they're automatically gonna write you a ticket. You know,
Just gonna get a little.
that's a secret code, and we change it every month.
Like a fishing tournament.
Yeah.
Well, the food list, it'd be tough one.
Yeah.
Well, I think you conclude it with one of the, red and blue flashing and.
Yep.
Well, hope you enjoyed this video. If not.
Here's the ticket that you get $500. Yeah, that's gonna very happen.
There you go, get the facts.
Scott and all in glory.
So, all right, so you brought up something at the beginning of the meeting, that you all have IS insurance rates.
Insurance is a skyrocket.
So-
Pre-hurricane.
So why do you think it's specifically Fort Aransas that has so many issues?
Because this is one of the last few places you have street to beach driving.
Okay.
Yeah, very few places you still have beach driving available. So you have the beach and the street, and so our population density is probably the highest in the United States as well.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Curious.
so you've got a few places left in the Carolinas, a few places left in Alabama, a little bit over in Bolivar. There's no beach driving in South Pocket, just street driving,
Right.
so, yeah.
Just curious, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
You've got roughly 5,000 cars here.
more than.
All right, so I think we kind of talked through the golf carts on highways. So what I'd like everyone to do is we're gonna schedule another meeting here at the end, but I want you guys to now start thinking about how ways we can actually implement these things that we're talking about. Plus, I think it's difficult the next meeting. So let's go ahead and move on to underage driving, and you know, that's probably the second biggest issue that we're seeing. So what do you generally, you guys, how do you go over that? Just,
Well, first, we won't rent to anybody
Right.
21 years of age.
okay, so is that true across the board?
Yeah.
The 21 is like the cutoff.
Then we flex up for spring break.
So does that,
25.
so does that curiosity do pretty much all the rental places do that in town? Okay, all right, so that's,
I might think that Cars and Carts does 18, but don't quote
okay, but the vast majority do.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
How many left?
If you don't want to violate your own.
What's the minimum age to drive?
We just don't.
what you-
driver's license. You have to have a valid driver's license.
Right.
But the problem is that the parents are not responsible.
Right.
They're renting this, they don't gonna tell you, I'm gonna let my sister.
Right,
Keep drive, you know, and then they drive, and then cars came back, well, wrecked or something, right? You know?
So
That was
again,
me, that was my kid.
right, so again, I mean, you guys have policy that,
We have policy, if it's underage and they're driving, we're taking the car, and there's a fine.
about how many times a month during the summer did that happen?
Not too many.
Well,
Probably, we don't know about most of the cases. We're probably just.
No, but I mean, we actually don't have a car.
Several times a month.
Ron, you had something similar to that?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And any significant pushback, or they just go?
No, they're really upset.
They're really upset with us.
They're upset they got caught.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
But I mean, they.
But you hold your breath.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're not arguing. We're, you know what I mean?
It's on the
We're arguing.
contract, you signed.
But they're not.
Yes, they're just saying like, oh, we didn't know, or this, you know what I mean, or it was just for a minute, or we were coming back from the beach and they couldn't drive the car, so we let them drive your golf cart instead.
You know, the biggest thing is we have land somewhere else and they drive on, well, you don't
Yeah.
let them tear it out on land back home and knock down fences and trees all you want.
Yeah.
Just when a truck hits them here, they're gonna be hurt. You know? Yeah, they just don't, they're using the babysitter apparatuses. And it's,
And it's terrible because they're fast. I mean, they're
Yeah.
fast. You know what I mean? 20 miles an hour. I don't know if we ever fell off anything at 20 miles an hour. It doesn't feel. You know what I mean? I don't know if you ever flipped anything. I flipped four-wheelers and it doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? These kids are hurting themselves and it gives us a bad rep. You know what I mean? And
So are you seeing an increase in underage?
I think it's increasing. I think it's increasing.
Also, it's common.
I live by Treasure Island off Oleander, and I mean, I see no offense, you know what I mean, but I see the silver sand cart with the kid from Old Town Cottages just pumping up and down that road nonstop. Just out there zigzagging up and down. I mean, my porch is right there. I watch it all the time. You know what I mean? They just pump up and down that road. Boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? And they're little kids.
I'm on the beach every day but Saturday. I take my dogs every single day to marker 53, 54, little leg stretch. And Cinnamon Shores, I with this amount of kids in front of Cinnamon Shores. It's not just in front of Cinnamon Shores, they're coming down at 28, 29, 20, they're coming down because they're getting braver and braver, and they're 12, 13, and it's fun, I get it, and the donuts and stuff, and mom and dad are on Zoom calls, and they just think it's fun, and
That's
it's.
fair game on the beach, though.
Yeah.
What?
That's fair game on the beach.
Yeah, forget the tie, but just underage kids, and then sometimes I put my corporate hat on and I say something, and sometimes I'm not. I just get it. So, but you know, it's huge from, there's underage driving everywhere, but I can tell you a significant portion is from 24 to 48 or 50, right, 50 other side of Cinnamon Shores. That is 50% of all underage driving, period.
Could ticket riders just park in that area until the issue resolves itself?
Well, and again, I mean, we're chasing tail. I mean, but yeah, I mean, if we know where there's a problem, then, you know, we're proactive on the highway.
Right.
We try to be proactive on the beach. But
You just don't have
there's
their box.
just a limited number of officers.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
we got 2 or 3 or 4 on duty,
Are people
and
like,
one of them's on the highway.
like the
So
guys,
that's 25% of our force is on the highway.
the guys that look for permit, are they allowed to do something like that?
You know, that's
To
what
have
I'm
a
talking
peace
about.
officer.
Well, like, they can't detain somebody when they stop them up in the detention.
Okay.
Now, what we could do, and what I'd like to see is is maybe come back even as a working group here. I think there's a lot that we could do to partner with you all to address this. I mean, you've got, how many golf cart companies in town? 15?
24.
24?
All right, so
If each of y'all took one day, so it'll be one day a month. If you would put one of your employees down on the beach or riding the sidewalk up and down the highway.
You give them the power, I'm all
Well, I'm
about
not gonna
that.
give you a citation, but what you can do, if you all agree as a group, that if we have people in violation, we're gonna impound the car.
Are they gonna drive the golf carts?
Scott's supposed to call Ron and say, hey, I just saw a cart 26 on 361. And then Ron can contact the owner and have us go to the park. The government doesn't have to solve all your problems.
I mean, that's reasonable.
I think it works. We just all we buy one electric bike, we get a vest, and you volunteer one day.
Segway, I want to see that on Segway.
No, not Segway, but electric bike, they all run 25, they'll outrun the cart. All you gotta do is go out there, get the people off the highway, say, hey, look, and then report them instantly
To the
to the golf cart place. And then they can text them, call them, pick up the cart, problem solved. And
If you're asking an electric bike to go on the highway and follow somebody and have a discussion with them on the
He
highway.
just liked them.
Oh, we do it these.
I can tell you personally, I
Oh, we do
go
all the time.
carts, get off the highway and I get.
Oh, you get that.
Your delivery is bad. Your delivery is bad. Your delivery is like my wife's delivery. Right, I always say, I'm gonna do you a favor here,
Yep.
save you some money. Just, you ought to turn, next time you can turn, get off this road, this is $500 fine. And they never flip me off. Blah, 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 says, don't y'all know you're not supposed to be on the highway? They give it a bird. You know,
What do you all think?
I'm gonna tell you that the $500 fine
Right.
works really
Yeah,
well.
that's generally the
But
motivation.
I mean, but as far as like if you guys got together as a group of golf cart owners to possibly do something like that.
I think you would get us some execution from March 1st to like May 25th, and then from May to Labor Day, you get no execution, because
So what is it
we're all
called?
going too fast.
God, what's it cost for the guy out there in a, of course, a dolphin suit?
Right?
With the sign board,
Yep.
flipping it
Eat more
around,
chicken.
no golf carts this way, or, you know. 'Cause he's gonna get some attention,
Yep.
and he can yell at him, hey, turn, you know, but somehow we gotta get their attention.
We used to have that DOT sign out there in,
I don't know.
remember after the
I
hurricane?
don't remember a flashing sign.
Yeah, there was.
The orange 4x4. Yeah, bro, see that side. It said no golf carts on
They have
361.
to do that lift station.
Yeah, and it was there forever. It was there for like most of 2018.
Then just text.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
didn't flash or
it didn't flash, it just said no golf cart on the highway.
Yeah, I remember, ain't no golf carts across the crosswalk.
This thing on the, I mean, the golf cart sidewalks.
On Park on 361.
That's text side, we have to get
Yeah,
that
yeah.
ball.
Well, we can have it, well, I'm not
We
gonna
can
say
ask
it.
him.
I mean, if it just happened.
It didn't happen.
We don't know what happened.
And you know, with the underage driving, what almost scares me as much, and I really kind of tell the folks, I really don't want to rent from a golf cart, but I'll do whatever they want. The holding a baby in their lap scares me. I mean, you know, it's amazing that Scott's officers are spread too thin to get away. I mean, holding a baby in your lap.
And here's my recommendation. I don't think you should rent a cart to anybody that's got a child less than 5 years old.
Well,
Because
you're close, but
it's
yeah,
too dangerous.
I don't disagree with you at all.
And the car seats are not made or not designed to be on a golf cart.
You're absolutely correct. I absolutely.
We contemplated requiring them as part of the initial
I
ordinance.
think 5's a little high, but you're in the neighborhood.
Well, 5, I say 5 because I'll recognize a child that's 2 or 3,
Right.
you know.
You just have to get all the golf cart companies to buy out, I would think. I mean, I'm collectively, you got 5 here. 2 would be more like the range, but the newborn baby thing just,
Yeah, it's scary.
It's
I mean, Rick, do you think about the front page newspaper picture of, I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that we can ordinance wise, I mean. But I mean, isn't that child, I mean.
those parents are just so eager, they're not working.
I mean, like, I know that y'all are busy and everything, but isn't that the like, the multiple
Like, that's
thousands of
something like
dollars
No
generated?
children under the age of 11.
Yeah, so much to that effect, now become an ordinance. And
And
then,
they just can't ride on it.
yeah, Period. Across the board.
You see, the problem here is not the rule, the problem is people stay behind. When they rent a golf cart, they think golf cart is deployed, but then it's deployed, they don't recognize it as a vehicle until something happens.
Right.
You know, you get a hit in the car, you get a hit on the golf cart, is different. In the car, you're gonna survive. In golf cart, I don't think so. If some truck gonna hit you, I don't
But
think.
I think it's, again, it's another, it's, you know, you put a $500 fine on top of that too. You know,
And you know, the thing about it is, if y'all will create a tape, I'll put it in my contract.
Right.
You know, and I have absolutely zero.
Yeah, the kicker is get all of our teeth same, so that we're all hitting on the same song.
And if we're all putting that in our contract and we're educating those clients that they're coming in, you know.
so just out of curiosity,
What's transportation code? So what's on state?
It's not paying.
yeah, right, no.
And an age too, right?
So I asked if that's coincides with.
Would you limit like?
You all
this certain
contracts, so
age?
they all, yeah,
Being on
you cover like, but like, if I go to regular work, Peyton,
We're all there.
I like $500.
So always got something that's highlight, you know, it's more important than anything to do with it.
so.
I know that we've never lost.
So I'm not saying this is something definite, but what about, you know, we all get together and we all have the same contract? You know, with all the
So
same.
the same elements, everybody's gonna wanna, you know, have a
Yeah.
little. individual-
We probably have the same elements, it's just the verbiage.
Right, but come up with something, so,
Maybe one back sheet, Steve,
yeah, or, yeah, something that if I go over
It is
to shop this year, then I go to y'all next year to Braun or Peyton. It's a standard, you know,
So we had something like that with our short-term rental where you have to have these certain things in it. Why not just require their rental agreement whenever we require their parking plan?
you have to have at least these
And you
elements,
have to have
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
things in it.
and then whatever your attorneys or people tell you, you have to have that. Still.
Again, I think you still miss
Yeah.
90% of the people.
oh, no, I mean,
I mean, so the problem honestly is we don't have enough police officers.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
How do we get more?
That's
police
a problem.
I mean, it seems to be a
That's a
bigger
problem.
problem. I mean, we have all these problems, but if we had more police officers, we could tackle these also.
And again, I
But
think
RL
we had a group wide cooperation.
Yes,
The whole
the
office
officer
doesn't fall
actually-
only on the government.
yes,
You know,
but I
some
mean,
fall on the individual
the
owners.
same like we're talking about going to the beach and chasing someone down.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel pretty weird, me and my Jeep chasing them down, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it could be scary, but I mean.
But if
I
they get
rely
chased
on-
down, it would be helpful
It would be helpful.
if we could call you and you terminate the contract on the spot there, pick up the card. And maybe have an internal web contact with everybody else in town and say, don't rent to these people until Tuesday. Or the next 48 hours or 72 hours.
That'd be such a massive database, not even do something, you know what I mean? To run that, you know what I mean?
We have something like that, but between people who are friendly, kind of each other.
Okay.
If we are involved, we're in Scott, right?
Yeah, right.
And if somebody did something bad, we're gonna let each other know which this person did that. We can spread the word all over the 24 companies, but at least between us four, between us three, we can manage that. And we do it.
And we'll work with you. And we'll partner with you and bring the violations to your attention.
No, I'm just wondering, I mean, maybe it's not the question for this meeting, but I mean, what does it really take to get more police officers? You know, what I mean, besides money and willing bodies, I know that's clearly.
We're well paid, we're well compensated.
Yeah.
It's a great city. Nobody can afford to live here. Nobody wants to make a commute across the ferry. Nobody wants to be a cop, period. So
No, I understand.
it's just.
So I mean, you don't have like civil serve, I mean, you know what I mean, there's no procedure where people are volunteering and.
Deputized.
Deputized. No, I mean, maybe not a gun, but a ticket book, you know what I mean, would be a good start.
But we can do that, but we can do is a response of our type of deal. We can have a ranger that doesn't have any enforcement powers, you say,
Yes.
stay up.
There's a third less officers across the state right now. We were having issues in the last city. Basically, no one's going to the academy.
I understand, but do you have to be all the way like deputized to write a ticket? You know what I mean? I mean, can we have like Bronson meter mates, except they're not meter mates, they're ticket people for the.
Snap a picture and write a ticket. Keep his card and go.
I mean, and if it goes for the license plate, we're already doing it. I mean, if it goes, that sucks all the paperwork, but I mean, if it goes to the license plate.
To write a ticket?
For most offenses, or at least in code enforcement. So you have to have that training. The problem where you come into when you're dealing with vehicles, motor vehicles, is you have to be taken. You have to You have to stop them, it's, you know.
So if you're giving them a highway.
If I issue a citation to a car that's unoccupied, that's completely different from me saying you're not free to move until I issue you the
But if
citation.
you're issuing golf cart citations, do they have to be a police officer?
If they're gonna detain the driver of the golf cart,
Yes.
yes.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay. So that's where you're.
We could theoretically say cart 56, you know, was seen on the highway at this time or
Right,
somebody, a trouble person saw that. And we would have to change the ordinance and then just make the
Right.
registered owner culpable, and then we can send them a citation through the mail.
you know, that's
Well, that
one,
means y'all are gonna be the one getting tickets, not the people wrong for themselves.
So, Chief, you had mentioned at some point here recently, installing a license plate reader.
Yes.
Will that work on the city issued like this?
Yes, well, here's, what Tim's talking about, there's technology called ALPR, automatic license plate readers. We've got a grant through the state board of insurance, because they're used primarily for tracking stolen cars.
Right.
But we're working to see if we get the technology, if we can feed our golf cart database into it.
oh, there you go.
So if the cart goes down the highway, then we'll get a hit that says this license plate was on 361 at this time at this location.
Are you allowed to share that information with the golf cart company?
Yes.
Because then that way, you guys can come back in and. Yep.
Yes, because I mean, maybe we can't stop the problem tomorrow, but if we start to make the impression that we're like zero tolerance, and if you do that, we're gonna fine you. I mean, a lot of people come to Fort A multiple times a year, right? They come and they come and they come. So if we're starting this impression that we're tired of this and we're not gonna settle for even accidents, or, you know what I mean? Your kids are driving. I mean, as far as a 12-year-old driving a golf cart down the beach, I don't need to stop them. I can visibly see they're 12. I mean, if I just wrote the license plate number down, I mean, we can find that.
You know, you need to get the police involved. Like I said, if y'all were willing to work as a coalition amongst the individual businesses and owners. We have businesses here in town that, I mean, we issue citations to their clients and they pay the tickets because they think it's bad PR. Or
Let's just track it down.
I mean, maybe we're gonna need to get more golf carts actually to show up to the companies, right?
Yeah,
I mean, if we're gonna do something, I know you did, of course, you know what I mean, but if we're gonna like actually come together and make results, I mean, we're gonna need all of us, you know what I mean, not 10, not half, I mean, it's gonna need to be all of us, because all of our future in business is at risk of something happening, possibly, you know what I mean? I mean, some incident could happen and some high-powered attorney could come and chew us up, you know what I mean, you never know. So, I mean,
we got $10 million lawsuit.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, at some point, I mean, it's either all of us care or it's like none of us care. So I mean, you see 5, 6 people here. I mean, where are the other people? We have to get
Doable whenever they come to rent, you get basically every registration, like you give me a license, you get bracelet. So basically you show me 2 licenses, you got 2 bracelets.
Yeah.
And if you're driving, you know, you need to have the bracelet on, you don't have the bracelet, you're not
I
driving.
got a house that sleeps 20.
Yeah.
I know, but.
Well, I mean, maybe
You're
you're
waiting.
making that meeting mandatory, and that's part of the certificate, you know, being able to get these license plates, like, I believe that you could probably make these mandatory. And not like, hey, please come, it's like, hey, if you don't come and you don't show up to 70% of these meetings each year, then we're not gonna give you license.
Yeah,
And that's a requirement for that, you know what I mean? Because I mean, you have, I mean, these are big, Top Deck is a big company. I mean, Silver Sands, they're a big company. They account for a big percentage of these rentals every day. I'm sure they account for a big percentage of.
You got recount.
Not everybody was invited.
Not every.
Not what you want.
was
Yeah, we
invited.
didn't invite all day, but I mean, I think that would be good, that if we're all here, and this was a bigger.
We wanted a handful,
What?
too many people, you don't get a manageable meeting.
Okay,
So we wanted a few of the people that were heavily involved, that we could start to have the discussion as to which direction we wanted to go. We've got 3 council members here, that's a good start, that's good, you know. So like I said, so that's where we start, that's why we didn't.
okay,
But I
so
don't-
in the future, maybe all of them.
So
right?
once we have a plan, we kind of coalesce this into some good ideas, so we'll get everybody in.
We can say that, you know, we need to show up for this meeting, you know, beginning of January, you know, every year, you know, and a review of everything. You know, if you don't show up, you don't get to, you know, Rent golf carts too, yes.
Well, I mean, because you're building like a networking system to help enforce rules. I mean, if more people are here, we also have more input on how this system is working for them. You know what I mean? And there are different areas and where they're bringing to.
I have a feeling that we're gonna probably get direction from council, we're gonna change some rules. And when that happens, you're either part of it or you're out of the business. And I think a lot, like I said, I think this group will kind of lead that charge and hopefully some others, we're not excluding anybody. Everybody was welcome to come, it's a public meeting, it was publicized.
Yes.
But I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, so you guys are, I can say you're on the ground floor.
Yeah, well, I
So-
mean,
so-
I'm pretty young. I intend to do this for. the
So,
next-
so you're on the ground floor of how we can change this, you know, so.
Well, you'll have some, I mean, you've got a chance to have input in your own future, that's what we always talk about, wanting it to back.
And if any of y'all wanna meet individually, just call me and I can go over.
One question for you, if contractually they're signing on a contract and we're saying you cannot have an underage driver. What is your position on being able to pass that ticket, not to the child that's driving that car, but the parent?
That's who gets the ticket right now.
Oh, that's who.
There's a state law violation
Okay.
for allowing an unlicensed operator
Whoever the
to
adult
drive a vehicle.
Yeah. you're the adult.
So we always give it to the parent.
Yeah, you had one the other day, Avenue A. And I swear they hit him at 9, and there's 4 of them.
Wow.
Your guys pulled him over, and I said, I saw him in the text, I said, what'd you do with it? They went and took him home and got their parents a ticket.
But I'll tell you, the ticket, even, and we say a $500 fine, I don't know what the actual fine is, that's the maximum allowed by law.
What do you?
The judge says $500. But the loss of being able to have that cart for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah.
Would carry a lot more weight than that ticket. I mean, that's.
I think that video that we talked about is a really good start, because that video could be not only on Ron's website, Steve, your website, because you're a dual guy, you're a short-term guy and golfer guy. But it also could be on all the rental platform, all the SDR platforms for the people to see. So yeah, on the city, chamber, so I mean.
This is a great idea, and I think, like I said, I think we revisit our sticker requirement, because if, again, you push an ink to paper, you might as well use this
That's been
backside.
really good.
And we do like, kind of like Carlos suggested, you put all the rules there, just like you have. And that way we don't monkey with your contracts, they should be in the new. You all have your own risk levels and everything else, but there's common elements. All of these things are common elements, you have to do this. And we're arguing about how it's posted, again, if it's two-sided, I like painting it, but maybe, anyway, we'll figure that out at the weeds, but.
That's been good for us this year.
And that's gonna be even harder for somebody to, when they get pulled over and the officer points to that map that has a big red line that says, you either don't have any idea where you're at, or you do, and you just ignored it, but either way, you're supposed to.
I know, even as far as the QR code is a state on the golf cart. I mean, I think you're like, that's really, you know what I mean? You could take that same QR code and put it on every golf cart and they're gonna scan it. Like it's, you know what I mean? It's like having a lotto.
Yeah, most people are willing to do good. It's, if you have one bad apple.
All right. You have to scan it. When you see that and you don't know, you know what I mean? 9 out of 10 times.
I want to guy inviting you under it,
Like, oh, look, let's watch this video.
Yeah, it's big.
Yeah, so I don't represent Sage, I manage HOA.
Okay, gotcha.
So we have security, myself out there, and we stop underage drivers, so
That'll be a full-time job.
They
Round the clock.
stop, yep, and they just, what we do is make them go back to their home and park it, and if we catch them again, we will confiscate that car. And I.
Now, inside the inventory, you can't do anything on the beach.
Right, I can't control the beach, but inside still the shore. Yeah, I totally agree with you guys. It's a huge problem. I don't have a solution. I can control it more instead of the shore itself.
Yeah.
But once I get on the beach, it's a wild card.
Yeah, you got your hands full.
Because it takes a long time, but not very young people. Wait for that person's family. Time to the house.
Well, that's what it's really like. Well, I always felt like that was a hard problem is when you pull over a bunch of minors, they're minors, like you can't really do much with them. You know what I mean, right? I mean, you can call their parents.
That's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, the ultimate job is just to raise awareness. Tickets are a byproduct. So if we could just get that awareness from where we are now, which is here, to there by next spring break, we're going into the next spring break.
Let's, keep this meeting moving, because we're gonna schedule another one, I will tell you that right now. Reckless driving, it's kind of played into the underage, but you know,
Usually where it's at.
so. Just out of curiosity, how many golf carts do you guys get that are wrecked because of reckless driving? I mean,
I think it's more than mine. It's
more, okay. So, how many turnovers? I mean, I guess.
I mean, a couple of years.
It's surprised how they hide them.
Enough,
Enough,
it's small problem.
small problem.
It's not bad, you know, we did have recent year during COVID, we got 5, which for us, we were like, oh, yeah, there were road most, but this year, I don't think we had a road.
I'll never see that people have rolled on.
Someone,
Yeah.
We haven't had to roll over, we just kind of. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it did roll over.
Their favorite saying is left here, and it said, left here like.
so have you guys?
Of course.
Well, I mean,
Of course, you have to.
well, I know you have to, well, you have to try to.
Oh, that's was a minor problem. We're renting golf cart to parents. Parent came back. It happened to us in June, I think. Tires are one there, one there. And we said, thank you very much. You have a good day. So, hold on a minute. Like, what happened with that? His kid was driving that. He didn't say that, but he rented it. He said, it's not gonna like that. No, he didn't. You know, it's not travel.
Let me tell you where the bigger problems happen, and there's actually, so the bulk of you guys, because you're not serving it, but we're serving it. Anywhere where there's a golf cart bridge, which Royal Sands, Cinnamon Shore, these golf cart bridges and young kids. Oh, man, it really tears the golf cart up. I mean, it'll bend an axle. We had one 3 days ago. You know, no, we didn't hit anything. No, look.
No, they just came down and hit the ground.
So that's just an area of some signage too, with on these golf cart bridges that we could do a better job with.
And I imagine probably people leaving the bar, right?
Yeah,
You probably get your bulk of reckless driving, like
So.
right outside of shore.
That kind of brings up the question, I know most of you saw the article from San Antonio, I know Chief saw that article about how they brought it to light, Galveston, how in Texas, you're not supposed to drive a golf cart after dark.
Right.
And, you know, to me, I'm a little half yes, no on that. I'm kind of like, man, would that be nice? As soon as the sun went down, those things are parked. You know, and knowing that there's no drinking and driving on it, they're not calling me going, hey, stop down here on the beach and all those things, you know, and a lot of the carts don't have turn signals. So you don't see their hands when they are making those turns at night. So I'm just curious, 2 things. How do we get around that? Is it just a city thing that we can allow? If that truly is something in Texas, or what is that?
But
It was.
the transportation,
Right.
the transportation code's complicated.
Oh,
There's nothing black and white. So there's a section that says, if you operate a golf cart under the transportation code, here's the rules. And then you get further down and it says, in the interest of safety, the city can regulate the operation of golf carts in their city. So that means you're not operating under the transportation code, you're operating under the city ordinance, which is what we do. So what it says about the transportation code, those are state laws. If they conflict, then the city ordinance, because we're operating under there, we take a position, the city ordinance dominates. We haven't been challenged on that, you know. Or somebody may sue us through the AG's office or something somewhere down the road and say, no, the state law is gonna take.
Well,
That's right.
what we determined is when you dig deep and you look at the strict interpretation, it applies to state highways. That would only be on 361 where you can't drive anyway, and a portion of cutoff road, which is state highway. But the rest of it doesn't apply. That's interesting. Yeah, and when you look at Corpus Christi's language, they only allow appearance, theirs is ill written, really, because the way it's written, it doesn't give them other latitude like ours does. It simply applies that, which means they can't drive golf carts anywhere.
But if the city so desired, you could say no driving after dark.
But I think that, okay, I hate to say this,
You don't-
so I'm gonna be a proponent of y'all here. I think that would destroy y'all business.
So it would be seriously disruptive.
It would disrupt it, I think, but boy, you would get to the next one about noise. That would disappear.
So I mean,
I'm just saying,
I understand,
I'm not a fan, but again, I'm thinking.
some people's.
I think Scott should.
It's only golf cart.
No, Tim, you think, you don't, you
You
speak up, you think so? I mean, I'm kind of, now it's intriguing, but would somebody not, I mean, predominantly, they're gonna rent the car for the beach.
Go to the beach.
Day.
Yeah.
So would they not rent it if they knew they couldn't drive it at night? I don't know,
Well, imagine you're out here with a water house.
When the sun goes down, drive to dinner. You can drive over dinner to the bar.
Solve the problem, and golf cart gets parked back on the lot.
5 o'clock,
Not-
it's over for 12 hours.
It's not over.
And it's going to the beach there. Can you show a movie at night?
Show a movie at night.
What if they're going to the theater?
Where they going
Yeah,
now
no.
for the outdoor theater?
No, hey, I know it, but I'm thinking for the greater good.
Talk to your council, I mean, you could, it doesn't have to be like midnight, but you can set a 10 o'clock curfew or midnight curfew or.
Now, that's not a bad idea.
That's
Now, curfew is more pro.
Okay, so, all right, so instead of saying after dark, what do y'all think?
And then Peyton's comment about somebody that, because we do have a lot of locals
Yeah.
that use that for transportation, they have a special pass that allows them.
Now you're really getting tough.
Right.
Look at these.
Because I never thought about
Yeah.
it, we do have a lot of.
Yeah,
people.
I mean, that worked the cars too.
Look, it's good on the paper, man. Big
Yeah.
part of our business is people who come in with a motor house.
And then
So you want them to drive water house to have dinner at night?
Yeah.
And some people night fish, I mean, those are actually.
Yeah.
The cars come back like.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Changes from the sun goes down at 6 o'clock. the sun
Well,
goes
go
down
by
at
seat,
8
you
o'clock.
get that for a big.
I think we got bigger things that we can pick at first.
Yeah.
So let's move on to. the-
So that was a good thought.
Excessive noise. Talk radio.
This is just becoming, and I don't know if it's so much the rental, I mean, maybe you guys have some stereo equipment. But I know there's a lot of custom parts up there
There's a lot of the custom cars pretty
that
good.
are, that have just got really.
I'm probably the only Bluetooth guy here.
Yeah, once again, I just personal anecdote, I had no issues with noise in my substitution. The only couple times I got woken up over the summer were golf carts driving by, literally, you know.
And it's a 6-seater and it's one guy.
Oh,
With,
Probably.
Problem is, it's limited to about the 90 days of summer with the exception of Santa Fe spring break, but,
90 days is pretty annoying in here.
it is, I don't disagree with that.
It's not, it's anywhere.
There's actually a city that covers the noise. It's not-
We tried to talk about it.
I wanna be right there, just like a better advised decision.
I think as far as.
I think
I think it's as far as the excessive radio noise, if you're gonna implement something like that. You can't go and make people, they don't keep your out at their car.
Yeah.
You were gonna be after 10 o'clock at night.
They know music. No, I know.
Do something like that, like in South Padre, I think you're not allowed that radio.
No more radio in the parks.
You know what I mean? Really?
Yes, but they filmed it out 2 years ago.
See, that is not something you can just come tomorrow and say, take all the speakers off your golf carts, because some people have cut holes in their golf carts and you know what I mean? It would well cost it.
But there again, so you've got a president in South Padre, so here's the thing, turn them down or lose them. That'll be the message. I think, no, that would be what I would at least think should be.
But there isn't some law for vehicles, right?
It applies to the golf cart, it applies to the kids. The problem is, it's gonna require a sound meter,
Okay.
and we've got two meters that we use, we don't have one in every car, but you know, if you make a traffic stop, the first thing you do is you turn the radio down, so then you lose your ability to measure, you're gonna have to.
They don't
physically
even
measure
give
them,
it up,
and
yeah.
then affect the stop, and that's about the.
There again, that's gonna be up to the individual companies in the education that we give our customers.
I haven't gotten a complaint, but I mean, I get where Rick, I mean, obviously you live on Anchor.
Nobody can sit here and say, no, you're right.
It was never like that. when You moved on.
Yes, very good.
Yeah.
The greater good. Come on, somebody else help me out here.
Yes, noise is terrible.
They used to drive by all the time.
And on-
It was very loud.
I mean, if you're gonna let Treasure Island, I live beside Treasure Island, if you're gonna let them pump that loud all night through the weekend, then you're gonna have to let the golf.
Did you choose?
I'm really feeling with a team thing, and it was COVID, so the bar was.
All right.
right, so, there's 4 or 5 here. We're going to stop the meeting, but we are gonna schedule another one.
Would you let me go through for a couple of,
You got the 26th, about the same time, of October. So, a little homework for you guys.
We got some stuff to put together, I think.
I'll call Brad on the video.
We can invite more,
Yeah.
more, we want to invite them already, or do we
Well,
want
I
to wait?
mean, there's what, 3 that didn't show up, right?
Yeah, Robin Barlow left the country for the next 4 months.
Okay.
Protect Brad.
Do we want to try to?
She's leaving, well, she's not left yet, but she's leaving now. She's
Yeah.
getting her dog certificates.
Tim? Yeah. 2 or 3 quick things.
Yes.
Yeah. You coming up for license plate renewals? Please, y'all, you get a stack of license plates and you give them to your $10 an hour guy to go in the parking lot. And he starts at one side of the parking lot and puts license plates on going all the way across. And none of the plates match the carts they're issued to.
Well, that's just Ron.
We're running into more issues with cars getting stolen and ended up in San Antonio and Austin and going up the highway. The serial number that we put in to the computer as a stolen car is the one that corresponds to the license plate that was in there. So when you give me license plate, lip 4 got stolen, but the license plate should have been on lip 7. Lip 7 is the one that's stolen driving around town up there. Lip 4's serial number is the one that's in the computer as a stolen car. But we're never gonna find that car.
It's actually lip 53.
Whichever.
I take a Sharpie and write the size of the car and depending on the.
We are looking at technology to put license plate readers on the highway. It would be helpful if you mounted the license plates up to the rooftop or someplace. Because we have a huge issue with the plates being obstructed for people. You got them on the bumper there,
Yeah.
they throw their ice chests in front of them, they hang towels and stuff in there. And
I mean, that might,
probably 15 to 20% of the cars in town that we can't leave license plates on.
yeah, that might be time to more than this.
Well, you wouldn't be able to get better if the line was over in the front of the roof.
I mean,
What about the front bumper?
Well, if they're on the front, then we can't see them from the back. I mean,
okay, that makes sense.
Can you legally make a copy of your license plate and downsize it and put it up there? Like, does it have to be an official license plate? If I have an official license plate on my car, but I do a smaller version that I make myself,
So that
it's readable.
I'd rather have the original one on the top and the smaller version down. Like, no, the ordinance says you can only have one.
You can only.
You can only have one.
Yeah,
And that's the other deal. The issue with the highway we're dealing with is tech staff. You've got 24 golf cart operators here in town. I would recommend that you all get together as a coalition. Write a letter to the TxDOT district and tell them you're in support of putting this signage up. And CC Todd Hunter
Can they not
with
put
the name of 24 voters from this community that's asking for that. And ask Todd Hunter to put some pressure on
Do
TxDOT
you have any
to work
contact
with us.
at TxDOT? I don't mind doing it.
Yeah,
I've already got.
If you could bring it, like, oh, I don't mind to do that also.
yeah. Well, I would think just one letter.
We can get.
That y'all-
Oh,
So we have 20, you know, we represent 24 business owners here in town. Each of them are independent voters.
We'll have to do it.
You know, Congressman Hunter.
Yeah.
These are 24 people that vote for
I'm
you.
telling you, we get the other side of the highway, do not tolerate golf carts in the parking lot, being the Snappy. Hampton, that will help, but right now, those folks are still
We
allowed.
can't get them to tolerate not having illegal gambling operation.
But I didn't get in here.
We're way down on
It's
the
still,
list.
it's still open. On it closed.
All right, we're gonna adjourn this meeting. Thank y'all for coming.
Offline, you can send us any of your ideas, like I said, we'll do a recap of what we, like, what we thought we heard, and then, that's it, but if you got any ideas. Then you can-
Yeah, we're gonna email probably the next couple of days here for y'all.
Awesome, thank you guys for coming in.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, next time I'll bring some drinks and stuff.
Yeah.
Wait, I want Ron playing.
Yeah.
We can have this meeting at Ron, I think, you know, and, Ron.
Yeah, you bring it through.
We're volunteering.
Go, Joe.
Yeah. Take off, coming out. Well, thank you.
Are you gonna be around?
Thank you.
Thank you. Talking about.
Yeah, good day.
Yes, sir. Good. How was your weekend?
Well,
Scott, let's do it, bud. Awesome video. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. I've got one on my website now, go look at it. It's not like it's me. It's just like a little.
Something we want right now. Rest has to be easy, as it made. Right, so that downstairs, one bedroom. 268. Yeah.
Another place, but kind of mad. We've been wrong.
So we can't put any text on, like, I'm in business for all those that start circling around. I'm trying to get out. Every possible. I was still in the strike area, but it's a lot of there. Very, avoided it. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I wanted to buy 2 years. I could have got my hands on really decent. I appreciate that. Got all mine.
And you can elaborate this whole time to go. All
Yeah, they really want to. Super, no.
How do you want to?
Not allowed.
But you know what? I can't believe it.
So. I told.
Orange shoulders are great. We're not
I want to buy one of hers, so they're on.
Not yet.
I think we're gonna get in a bad report.
The same as the part behind.
Well, we have to still look at. Yeah.
If I was in the house that had become a golf cart, I would have 6 parking.
Yeah, it's working really. I've got one at Main Street. I've got one over in Tutoring, Harvard. I mean, they just be not old.
What do you mean?
We just, you know, kids were out of it for it. And it's only 20, I mean. They're still, if you got a break, oh my God, you'd be a great employee for you. This guy's employee. Yeah.